A Georgia mystery that has endured for close to a half a century is solved. The GBI cold case unit teamed up with a DNA lab to identify a set of skeletal remains dating back to the mid-70s. A leader at the lab tells Channel 2 investigative reporter Mark Winnie it's one of at least 30 Georgia mysteries the lab has helped solve.
My prayer was to, whatever the circumstances is, Yeshua, I'm ready to accept it.
His dad disappeared in 1976, Kenneth Thompson says, while Thompson was in the midst of a 22-year Army career, from which he eventually retired as a master sergeant, and the mystery haunted him for half a century. Where was Curtis Lee Jones, his father?
Just give me something concrete, Lord, to work with.
But he says now, after DNA evidence developed by a Texas lab called Othram, and hard work by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's cold case unit, his prayer has been answered. And the nightmare of not knowing,
it was almost like a nightmare, a living nightmare,
is over, changed to a dream come true.
We're just elated. It's just a dream come true, an unexpected miracle.
Colby Lazion, Chief of Staff at Othram.
Giving Curtis Lee Jones his name back is I think, the feeling of doing that is somewhat indescribable.
Justin McAllister, Assistant Special Agent in charge of the GBI's Office of Special Investigations, which he says includes the cold case unit.
That's part of the reason that we were formed, to help try to bring some closure to some of these really old cases.
McAllister and Lazion say skeletal remains discovered by hunters in 1977 in Seminole County in South Georgia, remains which had probably been there since 1976, were identified as those of Curtis Jones through the same kind of technology, blending genealogy with DNA, that the GBI and Othram also used recently to assist Lawrenceville police in charging Glenn Plybun with 3 1986 rapes. Putnam County Sheriff Howard Sill says Othram is one of 2 private DNA labs he's working with on the 2014 murders of Russell and Shirley Derman, who lived by Lake Oconee, the most enduring mystery of Sill's long career. Lazion says Othram has helped give a name to unidentified remains or a suspect in at least 30 Georgia cases, and others are in the works. McAllister says one of his agents came across the 1977 Seminole County case while scrolling through the unidentified remains section on the GBI website. The remains were still at the state crime lab, and the GBI sent them to Othram.
We take those skeletal remains in our laboratory, and we carefully extract DNA from a small portion of the skeletal remains. And we take that DNA extract and we build a DNA profile.
McAllister says the cold case unit used the DNA profile, genealogy website data, and other research to build a family tree, starting first with distant relatives, but eventually narrowed down to Kenneth Thompson, who was swabbed for DNA that led to the identity of the remains as those of his dad.
There's no reason to believe he died as a result of foul play.
Nothing that we have, no evidence that we have or been presented would indicate that, no.
Mark Winnie, Channel 2 Action News.